what people are seeing here after this Integrity Commissioner and Auditor General's report is nothing but incompetence, right? From the chief of staff who decided to rush through a process, to the housing minister who looked away because he thought it was going to be too politically sensitive, to a premier who directed his housing minister to open up the Greenbelt after promising Ontarians that you would never touch the Greenbelt. But Premier, okay. At what point do you take personal responsibility here, and how are people to have trust in your leadership?
Well, thank you for that, Colin. And I'm sure you just walked down the street from your home, that you have a home. But do you know how many people don't have a home, Colin? There's hundreds, there's hundreds of thousands of people that there's hundreds of thousands of people that don't have homes. And yes, 2018, we didn't have a housing crisis. Do you know why we didn't have a housing crisis, Colin? Because there was no jobs here. People weren't coming here. Because the last government lost 300,000 jobs. There was no interest in coming to Ontario. But now, since we've been in office, we've created an environment and condition for people around the world to come to Ontario. Let me finish, Colin. To come to Ontario. When we have a housing crisis, I have two options, Colin. I sit back like the other government did and let the whole province fall apart, or we move forward and we build homes. Because I know you, Colin, a year down the road, if we don't have the homes, you're the first person that's going to be up here saying, why didn't you build the homes? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well, Colin, guess what? We're going to build homes. We're going to build homes until people have the same opportunity that you have. You have a nice home down the street. But guess what? There's hundreds of thousands of people that don't have your opportunity, that don't have the good paying job that you have. That's the difference.
I'm kind of shocked. I'm kind of shocked. Usually, like there were shades of Rob Ford there, which was good to see, because Rob would go scorched earth on the media. That's Rob, Doug Ford's dearly departed brother, former mayor of Toronto. He would push back on the media when they, said something completely inaccurate or out of touch, as this guy said. But Doug Ford rarely does that. He sort of, it's hard to watch Doug Ford press conferences because he sort of butt kisses to the same people who just chased his brother right into the grave. But it is true. Okay, so for those people who don't know, outside of Ontario, the Greenbelt is this chunk of protected land around what they call, I think it's the Golden Horseshoe. It's one of the most populous places in the country. And so it was protected, I think, by Dalton McGuinty way back in, I think, 2005, 2006. It prevents large-scale development, and it's designed to protect farmland and other environmentally sensitive land. It was sort of made by an edict. It's not really one of those like essential biospheres, although it does have a lot of farmland. But here's the thing, and I'm not against protecting farmland, by the way, but Ontario also has lots of farmland that isn't directly adjacent to Canada's largest municipality, that you could probably zone agricultural forever. The thing is, the left needs to choose now. Do you want to be environmentalists? Or do you want to have mass unfettered migration into Toronto? You only can have one. So if you want to keep the Greenbelt, okay, I'm willing to hear arguments, but I also don't like the government just protecting swaths of land via edict, because they'll do that to the oil patch. They did that to the Great Bear Rainforest, which is not really a thing. It just was like stroke of a pen. We're calling this the Great Bear Rainforest. It wasn't really a thing. And now you can't do anything there. And so I'm sort of against that idea, especially when it's designed to shoehorn people into the big city and not let the city spread out. I'm not against cities spreading out in Canada. Like this idea that we should be against urban sprawl and pile people on top of each other sounds gross to me. That's what they do in some of the less affluent parts, the less developed parts of the world, is build upward instead of outward. We're a very big country. We've got lots of space, but you can only have one here. You can have all the migrants you want to the country, and they flood into Canada's most diverse city, Toronto, where there are
Mm-hmm.
communities and people just like them, and it makes integration a lot easier. You can go there, but you need to house them, or you can have the Greenbelt. So Doug Ford needs to be putting pressure on his buddy Justin Trudeau, because they are very friendly lately,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do something about the immigration levels. That's what I see.
Well, it's like you said, like even the people coming here, they're not signing up for this. We're essentially catfishing them. It's like, come to Canada for the dream. Well, you end up homeless. Toronto's had issues with migrants, laying out on the streets until the churches recently opened up to them. So this is ridiculous. What I secretly, I guess openly now, since I'm saying it on the live stream, love about this is, even though Doug Ford was elected as, a progressive conservative, he's basically been a liberal. So you're seeing these progressives eat their own right now when they have to fend for themselves. And which is the people going to care about more? Yes, of course, there is arguments to be had about, preserving the Greenbelt, but people need homes. It's as simple as that. And if you don't deliver, or at least act like you care about that issue, you might not get voted in next time. And I think that's really what we're seeing here. It's one of those issues where he has to stand up for the main concerns, which is housing, both for Canadians who live here and the Canadians who have recently come here. So,
yeah, you
or
can
the
have a
people
chunk
trying to be Canadians, I should say.
Yeah, you can have a chunk of grass around Toronto, or you can have houses. Like
Yeah.
they've got to pick a lane here. Now, Olivia whispers in my ear that there's like another part of this that's about a minute that maybe we should watch. So let's watch and then react. I haven't seen this yet.
Okay.
Integrity Commissioner's report showed that you sent the housing minister a mandate letter shortly after the last election. Why didn't you campaign about opening up the Greenbelt and these land swaps?
Well, I think I've answered this before, but I'll answer it again. In the last election, we didn't have a housing crisis. And just up to a few months back, I didn't know the federal government was going to bring in over 500,000. Now we learn that those aren't accurate numbers. It's probably up to 800,000 arriving. Like, I didn't get a phone call from the minister. I didn't get a phone call from the prime minister saying, surprise, surprise, we're dropping these many people into your province. And by the way, good luck, you deal with them. That's the reason we have to make sure that we use every tool in our toolbox to build homes. So I ran on getting it done. I ran on building homes, making sure that we're building transit and infrastructure in schools and hospitals. And guess what, folks? We're the only government. We do what we say we're going to do. Some people may not like it, but we're going to get it done.
Well, there you go. Another direct push at the prime minister there. So what's going on there?
Yeah, and there's this little side controversy here. So Doug Ford campaigned on not opening up the Greenbelt. But again, circumstances change and people need houses, right?
Yeah.
And so what they did was, last year the province took 7,400 acres of land out of the Greenbelt to build 50,000 homes, but they replaced it with 9,400 acres elsewhere. So not only did they, so they built some houses and they replaced it with more land somewhere else.
Oh, that's reasonable.
That's reasonable, except it sounds like they were, according to the Integrity Commissioner's report, and take that for what you will, sounds like they were giving preferential treatment to some developers to get the land. So instead of saying, hey, what's this cronyism happening here? The media is hammering on the fact that you are building houses that people need. Building houses that people need is not the problem or the controversy. The controversy is the alleged accusation that they're giving preferential treatment to some developers. Hammer him on that.
That's the question. Yeah.
Don't hammer him on the fact that he swapped out some land so that people could live in Toronto. That seems like a reasonable thing to do and a good solution to a problem Doug Ford didn't create.
And it seems like there's a lot of tension in the room there during these questions. You can hear people, he's like, Colin, let me finish. I don't know if Colin really does have a house down the street, but it almost seems like he's aware of that. There's a lot going on there, but why are they so feisty over it? They're not even asking the real journalistic question, as you say, and they're harboring on this issue when they probably do have their own houses and comfort. So it's about being out of touch altogether, it looks like.
Yeah, they're like, why didn't you keep your promise not to build in the Greenbelt? That's not the problem here. The
Yeah.
problem is the cronyism. But
Yeah.
these people, they're just completely out of touch. Like, yeah, and Doug Ford called them on it. So
Yeah.
I guess, like Ben Shapiro used to have a segment of a show called Good Trump, Bad Trump. And I feel like I'm having a moment of like
Yeah.
good Ford, bad Ford, and I'm in good Ford right now. Very
Yeah,
strange.
that was pretty good. Good for it. I'll eat a
So
piece of cheesecake to that.
yeah, it's very destabilizing to me to see him
Yeah.
do something good for once. Let's go though. Now we're gonna hit bad Ford. Next topic. So we did good Ford. Now we've got bad Ford. So Doug Ford's government
Yeah.
has got an anti-racism plan, doubles down on funding for DEI. So that's diversity, equity, and what's the other one? Diversity,
Inclusivity,
yeah, inclusivity,
inclusion,
um,
or
whatever, and left-wing groups. So Doug Ford, in a stroke of insanity, he is going to fund the groups that will turn around and campaign against him in the next election by calling everybody to the right of Chairman Mao some sort of crypto fascist neo-Nazi. That's what he's doing.
Mhm.
So he's literally funding his enemies, and he's wondering why these people have the resources to go toe to toe with the conservatives in the next election. It's because you gave them the money.
That's so it's ludicrous. And also it's just like, why do they have to destroy all these good words like diversity and inclusion? Like they twist it, they abuse it. It's not even inclusive anymore. One of my aunts, I'm going to call her out, not by name. She got so mad at me because I said, like, actually, if anybody's getting judged by their skin, which if you read the article, that's what it says. Too many individuals are denied opportunities or face discrimination because of the color of their skin, their cultural identity, or their beliefs, says Ontario's minister. So this is part of the reason why they're throwing millions upon millions of dollars into this garbage. And I said the other day on my personal Facebook that, if anybody is facing discrimination by their skin, it's actually like white middle-aged men. And boy, did I almost lose some family members over that one. But it's so true because they are the last to get any perks in anything right now. And, even as I would go as far as to say younger adults who are white, like even scholarships, like when my daughter was going through her scholarships and stuff, there was actual preferences to kids who are in the LGBTQ plus community or racialized, or you can see even the way they want you to write essays and stuff like that. It's just so tainted. And to see a government giving millions and millions and millions into this nonsense that you're right is probably going to end up biting them in the end. I guess rightfully so. It's getting nauseating, and it's happening in every government, not just there.
Hey folks, that was a clip from the daily live stream. I co-host it Monday to Thursday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Alberta team takes over on Friday. Please tune in. And by the way, we want to hear your 2 cents worth. If you're able to make a minimal $5 donation, we will read your chat on the air live. Thank you.
Justin Trudeau's new censorship law, Bill C-18, it's a shakedown and a desperate attempt to keep the mainstream media afloat. Many have already lost their ability to access our Facebook and Instagram pages. The blackout will soon affect every user in Canada. We've partnered with Private Internet Access, a VPN provider dedicated to safeguarding digital privacy. For just $2 a month, you can maintain your access to our content across all your devices at piavpn.com/rebelnews.